This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Aha. Hört sich erstmal nach einem spannenden Beruf an, ne? Aber wenn ich ehrlich bin, ich habe keine Ahnung, in welche Richtung das Spiel jetzt gerade geht. Ob das jetzt lustig sein soll oder ob das jetzt doch irgendwie gruselig werden soll. Aber mein Gott, ne? Finden wir draus.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Geht schon wieder gut los, ey. Eine Tür, die sich von alleine schließt. Wenn die jetzt auch von alleine zugeht, habe ich keine Lust mehr. Aber immerhin ist es schön hell, ne? Das ist ja schon mal ein Anfang. Aha. Kann ich eigentlich Türen irgendwie öffnen oder so?
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Oh. So ein bisschen beunruhigt mich die Musik ja doch auch so, ne? Kann man hier rein? Auch nicht. Können wir die Tür zu? Okay, solche Türen können wir zumachen.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Echt? Die linke? Nee. Hätten nicht.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Können wir vielleicht nochmal zurückgehen? Oder? Nein? Okay. Ja, ich finde ja voll cool. Man kann einfach dem Erzähler widersprechen. Was ich aber noch nicht so cool finde ist, ich weiß noch nicht ganz, was jetzt gleich passiert. Bin ziemlich nervös gerade.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Aha.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
First open door on his left. Wetten nicht? Ja, aber sowas von Wetten nicht.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Als vorhin sagt er noch, hier, der drückt den ganzen Tag nur Knöpfe und macht, was auf seinem Bildschirm steht, ne? Komm, hört man mal nicht drauf, was der Typ mir erzählt. Da wird er stinkig. Oh, warte, was ist das denn hier? Dafür brauchen wir so eine krasse Karte. Aha. Donut Jump. Warte. Na dann.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Tolles Spiel, gefällt mir gut. Ach, wir müssen jetzt wieder von vorne anfangen, ja?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Ja, komm halt.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ich weiß ja nicht, ob ich jetzt vielleicht auch einfach mal zum Meeting Room gehen sollte, aber ich würde auch gerne wissen, wer das
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Er sagt wieder links, dann gehen wir rechts.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Das heißt nie was Gutes, ey. Wenn man crouchen kann, ist nie gut. Komm, die Tür machen wir jetzt zu. Können wir jetzt machen? Nicht? Gut, tschüss.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
For her?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Also irgendwie... Ne. Kacke, wir hätten einfach dem Weg folgen sollen. Oh, bitte nicht. Oh mein Gott.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to...
Jetzt kriegen wir auf den Sack. Oh, bitte nicht. Kein Jumpscare. Bitte, bitte nicht. Hä?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Nein, nein, nein. Wow.
Gotcha.
Ja,
Oh,
gotcha.
come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Leck mich.
Sorry, but you're in
Whoa.
my story now.
Ach Mann, Alter.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Nein, der will mich killen. Nein, ich drück nicht Y. Kann ich irgendwas anderes drücken? Drück mal
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature
Oh
of
mein
his
Gott, mir wird grad
existence.
richtig warm. Nein, ich will nicht B drücken.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Der Typ macht sich über uns lustig und ich kann nicht mal was dagegen machen.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Schicke Aussicht haben wir hier. Nein, ich will keine... Oh, um fernzusehen.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face
Oh,
of
kann ich
the
die
earth.
anpacken oder was?
The thought excited
Sieht aber auch
him
böse aus,
terribly.
ey. Ich hab nicht mal Kinder. Wenn ich keine Frau habe, habe ich auch keine Kinder.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parabel. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Ach komm, jetzt hör doch mal auf hier.
But there is no answer.
Ja, guck.
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Ja, komm, geh mal
and I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Das ist eine Fanfrage. Drücken wir den Button.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Wir hatten nur mal eine Kamera, ja, Junge, da kann ich auch nicht selber drauf gucken. Um nichts in Frage zu stellen? Ne, das machen wir nicht. Wie lange muss ich das denn jetzt wohl da stehen lassen, bis er dann mal sagt, dass das weggeht? Aber die Uhr läuft, also, ne? Das ist ja schon mal was. Wie viel haben wir eigentlich? 11:30, oder? Ist ja, doch, ist 11:30. Ja, Uhren lesen ist nicht mal eins, kein Ding. Ich will aber was in Frage stellen, jetzt mach das weg. Wieso habe ich eigentlich die ganze Zeit ein Tastaturgeräusch, wenn ich irgendwo hinklicke?
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Sind wir jetzt tot? Bitte kein Jumpscare, bitte kein Jumpscare, bitte kein Jumpscare. Ja, okay, wenn... Ach, nö.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Seine letzte Anweisung war, bitte stirb. Ihr habt eine ganz
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ich würde jetzt schon gerne rausfinden, was passiert, wenn wir wieder in die rechte gehen, ob das gleich ist oder nicht. Komm, wir probieren ganz schnell. Wenn nicht, dann rennen wir ja nochmal durch.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ach komm, jetzt machen wir so.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Nein. Nein, die Idee war doof. Doof. Wo sind wir jetzt?
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go,
Ich hasse es so. Warum bin ich hier runtergefahren?
It's, left.
Weißt du, ich kack mir hier gleich selber ein, ey. Left, ja, wir können auch nur left, glaube ich, oder? Ja.
Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake.
Jetzt verarscht er mich.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Ach, jetzt verarscht er mich. Toll.
Now, let's see. We went down right, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Wow. Ach komm, nicht noch tiefer.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
No.
Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding?
Life.
It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Alter! Aber wenigstens der Boden wieder sauber, ne? Komm, diesmal gehen wir
All
mal
of
den
his
richtigen Weg.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vielleicht habe ich auch Geburtstag und die wollen mich... Oh, das
When
ist neu.
Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
Alter.
Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Sind jetzt alle Türen offen? Finde ich jetzt irgendwie nicht so cool.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Ah, okay. Starten wir nochmal neu. Moin.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hast du schon gesagt, danke. Hier sind keine Türen. Wenn ich jetzt hier reingehe, geht die
Okay,
Tür
yep,
zu und jetzt
it's
haben wir ein
worse.
Problem.
I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Gut, gehen wir zurück. Jetzt fuckt mich das gerade ab, dass ich die Story nicht einfach so gespielt habe, wie sie hätte sein sollen.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something.
Was?
The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story.
Der verarscht
Okay,
mich.
let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Nein.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were
Alter.
supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Ach komm, ey.
All right, I've got a solution. This
Adventure
time, to
line.
make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parabel adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Komm, jetzt machen wir einfach.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize.
Oh,
Not
Scheiß.
sure where I was going with all that. You know what?
Einfach weitergehen.
I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Jetzt ist das Spiel gar nicht mehr so gruselig. Wer hat denn diese Linie gemalt, ey?
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
Was ist denn für ein? Ach, halt's Maul, ich folge jetzt der Linie.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this... Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Und weiter geht's.
You know what, Stanley?
Ach.
I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our
jetzt
story
geht's schon
to
wieder
be?
im Kreis.
Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Ich aber nicht.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Fuck mir doch nicht ab, Alter, jetzt. Ja, alles klar. Ist die Storyline jetzt böse oder was?
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity.
Komm,
In fact,
sag links,
I
ich geh
believe
rechts.
I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Gut.
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting
Alter,
from
mach
the
die
right,
Tür auf oder
let
so.
us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic.
Komm,
Come,
mach weiter auf,
Stanley,
Junge.
our destiny awaits.
Können wir die aufmachen? Nicht?
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what,
Was?
eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well,
Ist das
who
jetzt der Weg, wie
consulted
man das
me?
zu Ende
Why
spielt?
don't
oder
I
was?
get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule?
Oh, Mann.
How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Ich hoffe, keiner kommt für uns, Alter.
Okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Oh mein Gott! Nein!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Storylines sind wieder da. Wir gehen jetzt einfach der Story hinterher. Ja, danke.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Sehr schön. Wir machen jetzt einfach, was der Typ uns erzählt.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ja, keine Ahnung, ist mir auch egal.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Ach, drauf geschissen, bevor der gleich irgendwas wieder macht, dass die Story hier kaputt geht, ey.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Drauf geschissen. Nein, 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 runter gehe ich nicht mehr. Den Fehler mache ich nicht nochmal, Junge. Schick.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Was für eine Riesenwand, ey. Nein. Ich will nicht wieder runter.
Descending deeper into the building,
Das
Stanley
Spiel fuckt
realized
so
he
ab.
felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Das ist jetzt gemein. Scheiß drauf, zur Not machen wir es nochmal. Ah! Kacke, das ist der Raum, wo wir vorhin waren.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Ja, ne, läuft doch. Wenn er glücklich damit war, ist doch cool.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Wie, das machen wir jetzt kaputt, oder was? Warum passiert hier nichts, wenn ich mal auf den Knopf drücke? Aha. Schön, dass hier viele Knöpfe sind, das freut mich ja immer, ne? Aber wenn die nicht können, sind die auch kacke.
And when at last he found the sword.
Da hätte ich vielleicht nicht so schnell drauf drücken sollen.
Blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Ach, wenn er so fragt, ist er eh nicht vorbei.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Ich würde ja schon gerne wissen, was mit den anderen so
Stanley
passiert ist.
felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Huh. Nein! Ach, komm schon! Nee, wisst ihr was? Hier mache ich jetzt ein Ende, aber ist kein endgültiges Ende. Ich schätze mal, ein Video mache ich dazu noch, weil ich will unbedingt nochmal wissen, was jetzt mit den anderen passiert ist. Und vielleicht finden wir da ja sogar raus. Wenn es euch gefallen hat, lasst ein Like da. Gerne auch kommentieren, was ich besser machen könnte, was auch nicht. Was euch gefallen hat, scheißegal, Hauptsache Kommentare. Ja, ich hoffe, euch hat es gefallen. Also, macht's gut.